All right, the recording's running. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cloud Custodian Community Meeting for July 25th. In the meeting chat, I'm putting the notes for today's call and sharing the screen so everybody can see okay. I was just getting the notes together, so I don't have a lot of high points to bring up front, other than introductions. If anyone wants to, we've got mostly returning faces here, but feel free to say hi. I will say hello to all of you. Okay, for the items here, just still, we're going to keep this note until we move on from Python 3.7. We'll keep the note in there that we're moving on this year. And that's pretty much all I have here until issues and PR time. So does anyone have any particular issues or PRs they'd like to call out for review, for discussion?
I have one, 8744.
8744. Oh yeah, saw some reviews going for this one. Yeah, pending maintenance. Okay, so you had a look at this one. I think I only saw this because it was failing. We had a few that were failing because of a lint check, but yeah, this one already worked. Oh, because this was pulling off the existing PR. That's what happened. Okay, yeah. So there are no reviews for this. I'll take a look at that one. I already started because yes, I was picking up from previous work. So this is just someone that you work with, Nahito?
Yeah, this is a person from Intuit. I think there was a previous PR submitted. I think it was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I had looked back and it looked like there was some older discussion on it, but yeah, it just needs a little bit of.
And that old PR has a two or three changes, and we only need one of it, which is to filter the maintenance mode. So we just created one dedicated for maintenance mode and submit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I do owe a comment on this. I started looking back through the old PR, and where I was looking was here, this piece where we're pulling all the maintenance actions. I just didn't know. I think there's a case where we might have where that can only return 100 at a time, and we might have more than that, so we might need to paginate that, or when we call this thing, pass in the list of IDs. So I should just have a comment on that, because it looks like we can return up to 100, but we can also pass up to 100 IDs. So, but aside from that change, I think this looks cool.
100 maintenance. Okay.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows if you're actually going to have 100 RDS instances that need maintenance? Probably not. I hope not. It's a sad day. But who knows?
Okay.
Cool. Hopefully you're not testing that case. But yeah, thanks for bringing that one up. Anybody else? Other issues or PRs? I would say one of the things we should have pointed out before was that we had a release, and this should have been in the agenda, that we had some breaking changes. So one, folks who were following along in either the dev channel on Slack or the issues, there was a change upstream with Boto 3 changing the user agent. So if anyone happens to be relying on certain user agent naming patterns, that's going to be that would be a breaking change, and there's an issue here with all the details. So that's in this latest release. And then for anyone who happens to be using the Oracle provider, I know it's still classified as alpha, but there's just some changes going on to kind of simplify, standardize on the action syntax. I'll add that to the notes as a call out. Aside from that, though,
I'm sorry, is that breaking change? I didn't look at the detail yet, but does it affect to like lots of users?
It's only if you happen to be using, oh yeah, sorry, Kapil, you go for it.
I mean, I typed it up in the chat here. It only affects if you were using CloudTrail to track custodian policies. Like if you had your own index on CloudTrail, Splunk, Athena, whatever, and you were querying it to determine what, it's more of an operator concern than it's not a backwards compatibility concern for running custodian or running policies. It is more a question for operators that were using CloudTrail to introspect custodian actions because our user agent in that changed.
Yeah, I think where I've seen it, you're right, using CloudTrail for searching if you're ingesting it somewhere, trying to find out which, if you're tracking for your own history, like which policies were responsible for which actions or something, that can be, it's useful to dig into the CloudTrail data. I also feel like I've seen people use event filters on event-based policies that expected a certain user agent pattern to try to catch custodian actions. But that feels pretty edge casey too. But yeah, anytime you're actually looking at the CloudTrail stuff to verify custodian behavior.
So this include the CloudTrail type in the mode?
No, it has nothing to do with CloudTrail mode. It has nothing to do with policies. It is simply what is the API calls the custodian is making, the user agent that is recorded into CloudTrail for custodian API calls has changed.
Okay, I'll take a closer look and see if it affects us. As far as it doesn't change any behavior in the CloudTrail type in the run mode, I think we are good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, policy behavior is unaffected.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. And it's just worth it's just one of those things that if you were looking at it, you would have seen this type of user agent that's going to change. If you don't look at the user agent, you don't use it for any sort of filtering, tracking, triggering, then you won't care.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So Kapil, I was just calling out the piece about the release, the AWS change, and then the Oracle one for the actions for whoever's using Oracle. Anything else noteworthy other than the normal additions and fixing?
Not for the last release, but for the next release, it looks like we'll have some significant changes with the dynamic notify buffers and a few other things. It feels like the next release is shaping up to have some significant changes. I'm currently also working on release automation for it. So there's a current PR up in testing, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to. We've been late by a week for, I guess, the last 2 or 3 releases, mostly unrelated stuff in packaging ecosystem world, but hopeful to get back on track, let's say, in August. But
so you're still shooting for the first half of August?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
And the realities of things seem to always. We have a goal, we have an aspiration. Our confidence is still building and low at the moment.
Cool. Thanks. So that's release discussion. We already talked about the pending maintenance filter. We'll look into that one a little bit more. Some release notes. Any other issues, PRs to call out, or questions and concerns? It's kind of fair game to anyone at this point. Only because Kapil mentioned the dynamic size buffer for notify. That was to work around an issue where SNS batches going to actually the issue was reported for SNS, but it could have affected SQS also, right?
Yep, both SNS and SQS.
Yeah. Okay. So that was notify using a fixed size batch. Sometimes if we were setting large resources that had large payloads, we would go over the max size. So thanks, Pratush, Kapil, for working on that one. But like Kapil mentioned, that's kind of a pretty core change. So That looks like a big thing. Should be a good one. Sounds good. And what was the other thing we were calling out as a big change coming up? Well, there's the release automation stuff. That's more on the under the covers workings. Yeah, I don't know that other ones of these are jumping out. The flow log stuff, I know that just came in. That I think is interesting only because we're changing syntax. But Kapil, you've got some like a nice little compatibility shim layer in there to transform the syntax, which seems pretty nifty. I don't know if that's worth talking about at all.
No, I think in terms of one other big item that I'd like to resurrect is the auto lambda layer stuff, but I feel uncomfortable making any commitment on it at the moment. But yeah, so that might fall out to September release, just based on timing.
That sounds good. I did see that there was I saw a PR open and then get closed, looked like because of CLA issues on the metrics filter.
That organization that she's a member of has a corporate CLA. I pinged them about, they've got 2 people, I think, that have contributed that aren't, that have this issue. So I've tried to ping them about adding to their corporate CNCF CLA, but I will try to touch base with them tomorrow. They're, I think, Eastern European on TZ, so it requires a time zone shift for as far as them attending this.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, that looked legit. I know that concern had come up before, and we had guidance around not using custom periods, and there were some other issues in PRs open, but that looked legit to me. Okay. Anything else? If not, we can say going once, twice, and 3 times and give you all some time back in your day.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.